It's the I'm Not Your Lawyer show. That's right. It's that time. Brought to you by the Church of Blurk. Oh yeah, it's immutable. It's the only religion that's verifiable, unless you're the Tao. Tonight we've got a special show. I'm Jason. I'm not your lawyer. And we have a very special guest, an icon, a god, if you will, in the Bitcoin space. His name is Chris DeRose, and we're going to bring him in right now. Welcome, Chris. Great to have you here. Oh, wait. Sorry, Junseth. It's Junseth. I'm sorry. The problem that I have with all of this is keeping up of who's who.
I gotta say, I don't think that anybody knows this, but you actually paid me to be on your show.
That's true.
I'm in need of a little bit of money. I appreciate the gesture. You paid me 11 social capital to be here, and I really do.
Well, social capital is tradable.
It's the currency of the internet, my friend.
On the DEX, I heard. Although I heard that Drop Lister banned it because social capital was inherently racist. That's what
it is.
That's what I heard.
It's rarely given to black people. That's.
Wait, you're black?
Oh, I'm black. It's
oh shit, we gotta shut the show down. I'm sorry.
Social capital is easily taken from black people. However.
I can't have black people on my show. I thought you knew
I know that.
There's
You're wearing a seersucker suit. Like you look like you own a plantation.
Right? I mean,
hi, how you doing? I'm Jason. you own like a Kentucky Fried Chicken and like a fucking like plantation that you have like people picking.
I was wondering if you were gonna pick up on that.
Well, I see the seersucker like.
Oh god. Okay, before we
for tonight, I appreciate it. Like I said, you paid me. I'm glad to be here, and for at least the next, I don't know how long it's going to be, 30 minutes,
5 minutes,
hopefully less, maybe 5 minutes.
We've got 5 minutes.
Like, no longer than 5 minutes. Well, this will be you own me. All right.
Oh god. All right. So
if you've never owned a black person, you do now.
Wow. I'm
just saying. But for a little while.
It's a first for me, you know.
You don't even have like a black baby?
All right, so okay, we're getting some requests to turn the music up or down, or you up or down. We're going to see if we can do this here a little bit. We've turned you up a little bit. Bring the music down.
How about I provide both? Dude, I'm turned up. I looked at Jason's face and I got turned up immediately. So, don't worry about me.
See, part of the show that we do here, guys, is we keep the music going, because if we take ourselves too fucking seriously, this is.
How many Junseths are in the chat? I want to have a shout out to the.
Well, wait a minute. You decentralized your identity, right?
I sure did.
Why don't you take a moment? Hold on. I'm gonna put you in full screen here, and why don't you take a minute to masturbate with all of yourselves?
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely.
All right, your full screen. The forum is yours.
For all of you who have participated in the Decentralized Identity Program, I want to say thank you for wearing my pants. I will continue. I will continue to continue verifying your accounts and any opportunities that you decide to take to speak or interview people. You can do that as Junseth. I am so proud to be the father of this modern blockchain. It is a scam. Listen,
I'm not your attorney, but I wouldn't claim to be anybody's father without a DNA test. All right, just don't.
Well, the beauty of a father is that like you can actually prove. I can claim that I'm the father of every child, and then demand a DNA test, and later on verify that I am not.
Is that how you build social capital?
That's how you build ability. That's all. That's how you take people's babies, Jason.
Okay, so there's so many things I want to ask you. There's so many places we could go with the show. I know there's a lot of people in the Exotica troll box that first of all, they've claimed that your pants have given them crabs. I mean,
first, here's the thing: I've had crabs my whole life. I actually feel a little bit of an obligation to have crabs. Crabs are a difficult STD to contract anymore due to like modern hygiene and other things. They're pretty much extinct. So I keep a colony of crabs right on my pubic hair just to basically make sure that that we keep them around. You know, a little bit of pubic lice never hurt anybody. Jason wears a merkin.
It's Friday. This is a beverage.
It's not is that a gin and tonic or that's a gimlet, isn't it?
There's liquid, there's ice, there's a lemon. I mean, don't you have your That's what we do on this show. It's Friday night.
Like, go away, guys. Come on.
It's the I'm Not Your Lawyer show. We got our popcorn. We got our drinks. We got Junseth.
Thank you.
Now, let's talk about some serious stuff.
Okay, we can do that.
Just exactly how large is your penis? That's
let's see. Let me find there should be something here that can. The problem is the thing with the penis is that it's not really as much about length as it is about girth. And so here, if you can see this right here.
Yeah.
This pen.
Yeah.
It's a little shorter than that, maybe half the length.
Yeah.
Not that long. But
so
this is a proper representation of how girthy it is.
So about the size of your thumb, and about as thick as a Q-tip.
I would never claim to be as thick as a thumb.
No. All right. So what do you think? Just from your perspective. And this is something that, what we do here on this show is we try to give everybody a little bit of legal knowledge. I think maybe you've seen an episode, maybe you haven't. Try to help people avoid problems in the future.
I've watched all your stuff, Jason. I absolutely love your show.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I honestly have not watched all of your stuff. There's too much goddamn content.
Here's what I would say. There's a lot of fucking content. I've thought to myself as I watch your show, the only thing that would make this show better is if Junseth were on it. And I don't say that arrogantly.
Well, here you are.
Seths out there. So, you could have picked any of them. They would have all done a great job. What are we looking at? What is this?
It's butter.
It's butter. Yeah, that's right.
The show is so much butter right now. So, well, before the show started, I was telling Junseth that, I've got kids, right? And
some black.
They have these projects that they have to do 4, 5, 10 times a week for every goddamn class because schools in America don't teach art class anymore. They give projects to send home to their parents to do projects every day of the week repetitively. I mean, they know us by name at Office Depot now with the amount of glue sticks we've had to purchase. It's just stupid. So I find all of these little cutouts everywhere around the house. This one was butter. And, the show is butter.
Well, in addition to that, we were talking about Ponzi schemes generally. So you told me that you have trouble with my thesis that blockchains are Ponzi's in general. And I think you're wrong. But I would like to learn from you. So you're the lawyer. You're the one with a degree, and you have, I've heard, an enormous penis.
No,
Are you pointing at your degrees? I don't even know what those say. I can't read them. You printed those from your computer.
Billy Bob's online law school.
You got those from India.
And fishing guide license. You can get your law degree and fishing guide license.
It's like the University of Nicosia.
I don't know anything about that. I can't speak to that.
That's where you get that. You get your blockchain degree too there, So you get your fishing license, your blockchain degree, and you got your law degree there as well. That makes perfect sense. That's why
just straight very close to Idiocracy, where he got his law degree from Costco.
I never saw that movie.
Was me. You never saw it? Hold on, Rihanna's here.
No,
Come on in.
Oh, hey.
Hello, everybody. Say hi to Rihanna. There's Rihanna.
Songa.
That's it.
Everyone. How are you, Junseth?
Come on, tips. Let's go,
Wow.
guys. Now, yesterday, hold on. Let's do
I
it.
have some too.
Oh,
Come this way a little bit. Yeah, we're gonna put tits on Junseth.
Okay.
There we go. Nope, up a little bit. There it is. All right, somebody screenshot that. There it is. Everybody screenshotted that.
Like,
There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
Wow.
Perfect.
All right. I'm gonna make dinner.
Thanks. We're having popcorn and beverage.
Mm. Oh, I'm gonna. Oh, never mind. All right. Well,
That's what we're doing.
All I can say is tell me I'm pretty and throw chocolate in my general direction.
Yes. Tell her
genital
she's pretty.
direction?
Dinner.
Yeah.
Genital direction or general?
General.
General. Okay, that makes
General.
sense.
Let's keep it clean.
that
This is a
might be-
family show. God damn it.
It's not a family show, and I've never been clean. Here, that's exploitive. That's what I gotta say. That's exploitive.
What?
You're using her tits for your benefit.
No.
And I am motorboat hitching. Go get a fucking account, guest. God damn it. Holy shit.
So for people that are going to be watching this on YouTube later, what you're seeing is a live interaction and response with 42 people that have nothing better to do than watch two
Yeah, I can't believe they're
asshats
watching
chat
this.
on a Friday night. So it is what it is. All right, so Ponzi schemes.
Yeah.
All right.
So I think you're wrong. I think that blockchains, at least to me, very much resemble Ponzi's. But your point is that a Ponzi is a very, very refined, specific type
It's a very specific scam.
instrument,
Yeah.
and that it's not quite what a blockchain looks like. I think that you're wrong. So let's do that. You tell me what a Ponzi is,
All right.
and I will either concede or I will develop it with you such that you turn your mind around and decide that I'm right.
Okay, so
I will kick you in the head over the internet. That's
we have drawings times with Simon, right?
Oh, I'll be Danny DeVito.
There you go.
Okay, so that's your Ponzi scheme.
Well,
Dollar sign with a box.
well, that's where we're going to start.
Okay,
All right, so money goes in.
money goes into the box.
Now, here's the thing. Generally speaking,
So far, real quick. So far,
Yeah.
Ponzi's look like church.
yes,
Okay.
that it's not far off. So the money goes into the magic box, right?
Okay. Yeah. Magic.
And generally speaking, the magic box actually does something useful.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how all great Ponzi's actually work. Okay? That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
It has to do something correctly.
Yeah.
All right? Now,
Yeah.
I'm going to give a good example of a Ponzi.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pitch it to you, all right?
Okay.
So General Electric actually made this brand new machine. It's a very cool machine. It's a scanning machine, kind of like a CAT scanner, all right? But what it does, instead of doing magnetic imaging of various slices of the body, looking for damaged cells, etc., it looks for air pockets in your body. And the whole intent is if you can find an air pocket in your body, what you might discover is a place where a tumor could be growing or a tumor could grow in the future. And so so what you want with this imaging system, okay?
Chickling Jesus says it's a fart pocket.
No, it's not. It's a place where a tumor could grow. A fart pocket is something completely different. Let's keep it straight. All right, now, if I may. So there was this company, and they created a walk-in testing center, kind of like you have MRI centers now, or you can go to outpatient clinics. You can go get scanned. And so they set up. They actually purchased one of these scanners from GE. It's a real scanner. It's a tumor scanner. And they hired a radiologist, they hired nursing staffs, they waiting room, the whole deal, right? And they put it into a standalone center, badged it as an LLC, built it in Northern California, and bang.
You'd go in and you'd have them look for fart pockets.
Yeah, they have a doctor, everything, and then they set up a whole marketing campaign to have people referred So insurance would pay for these scans, right? Because experts wanted to be able to do this, right? So they set up this whole deal. Now, so far, what do we have? We have money in a legitimate business, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
in order to
Magic
fund
box. That is the magic box.
that's our magic box. So what
Right,
they did
right.
in order to fund that magic box business is they went out and they set up an LLC and they said, all right, we're going to have one share per LLC or one person per LLC member unit. Whatever, $25,000 to buy in. This is the next greatest technology. You want to be in on the ground floor because you're important and you're smart and you know when you see the next greatest thing in diagnostic imaging.
All right.
So they put out a private placement memorandum. That might look familiar. Right. They put out a offering document, subscription agreements, the full deal, right? Spared no expense. Because usually there's a lawyer that's tied to these things that's making money off of these as well.
Yes.
So,
like you.
Now, no, I'm not involved in these things. I usually go after people
so you're also
for
not
doing
their
this
lawyer.
shit. No, I'm not their lawyer. I'm not
Are you
anybody's
lawyer, Jason? Do you have you ever been a lawyer ever for anybody?
I have these pretty pieces of paper.
Have you ever practiced or even played the game of law?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Well, I represented Trent and Shavers. I mean, that didn't go so
Not very well.
Actually.
Not very well. He's in jail now,
Yeah, but I'm retired, so I did something right somewhere. I'm not sure what.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Birthright, maybe?
So, no. So, so now you've got this legitimate business set up with investors, and they've got a running operation, okay?
How much social capital do you own?
None. Now, you've got your magic box operating platform.
It's not in the picture.
Well, it's on for Exotica. They can see it. There's two different cameras in there in different spots. Try to keep up.
I didn't realize. Sorry, Jason.
It's all right. I gotta have one camera a little bit askew so that your Junseth cam can take. You're taking up the majority of the screen. Actually, you're huge.
I'm a very fat man.
In this, I like your hat, by the way.
Thank you. I had it made special for this show.
Hold on.
Wrecked Junseth. I would like to verify that Wrecked Junseth is me. Please verify his account. Where's Jason going? Is Jason taking calls? What's going on here? And by his, I mean my account. Or you're putting a captain hat on. Okay, that's great.
I'm putting my birthright hat on.
Oh.
All right.
Oh, you look so stupid.
I know, right? I got a free bowl of soup with that hat. Anyway, so here's where the Ponzi comes in. You've got existing investors, and they're really happy about the returns.
Show me this picture.
And they're legitimate returns. So now the next step is offer big rewards to existing investors.
Okay.
Money, money, money. Okay? So I'm going to show this to our viewers.
Would like to see this?
Big rewards to existing investors. All right? There you go.
Okay. So from the box to big money, money, money.
To big money, money box. All right? Now, those investors, the original investors, get offered big money, 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 money. Okay?
Yes.
Because they're existing investors and it's going well and everybody's making money off of a legitimate business. And what they're told is now that we have one up and running, our proof of concept is up and running. Now we're going to duplicate it.
Okay.
And so this was actually a real thing that happened. I worked on this case when I was in Oregon.
Scam is me. Please verify his account.
All right. So what they did is they then started selling multiple LLCs. So there was one Southern California, Arizona, Nevada. They said, all right, we're going to open up multiple locations. And you know how well the first one did. And we're going to duplicate this. And so you can get in on each one of these locations. So they basically just rubber stamped the first investment and said, we're going to do this 7 more times. And you can get in 7 ways. And by the way, you can get into one or you can get into all of them. And if you can't afford to get into all of them, call your friends.
John Scam says he prefers much less complicated Ponzi's. I'm with him.
No, this is where it comes in, right? This is a Ponzi.
Of course. So okay, so go on. So they're selling their. Well, why is the point is that there's a legitimate black box at the beginning, right?
Yeah,
or a legitimate magic box.
Yep.
So now they're going to do the same thing at 7 locations.
No, they say they're going to do the same thing in 7 locations.
Okay.
But they never do.
Yes.
Okay. So that's where the Ponzi starts.
Yeah.
So they have existing revenues from an existing place with a legitimate thing to where they can see, this is a real working, real world event that's happening.
Sure.
Now, give us your money and we're going to duplicate this. This is where you make a lot more money.
Okay.
Tell your friends. So they start taking in a ton of money for all these other locations. And they say, yep, this one's going to be open, this is going to happen, etc., blah, 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 blah. Now, with the money that they get from, let's say, location B and location C, they start pumping up the returns of the original location. So they use that money in A and B, and they put it back in, or in B and C, and they put that money back into investors in A.
Okay.
Right? So now investors in A, the original investors, are making a fuck ton of money. Fuck ton of money. All right?
Yeah.
And they're using the investor money from B and C to pay for it.
Okay.
B, C, D, E, F never get built.
Yeah.
They never get built.
Right.
And then when someone says, hey, why isn't this happening? All of a sudden, the books for location A are actually zero balanced because they stop paying them out, because they convince them, hey, you can take this investment, this money that you got in A, you can take that return, or you can just take that money and you can put it into location D and you can double down, right? So this is on paper, you've got money, we're just going to move it into the other ones, but instead of it going into location D, it goes into the original organizer's pockets. Not the original investors, the original organizers' pockets, and then they just start skimming until people stop giving money, and then everybody leaves the country, and then it's done. So that is a Ponzi. Okay, and Ponzi comes from the name Ponzi, who did the first scheme that was a legitimate thing, doing an arbitrage. Took people's money in.
He didn't actually do the first thing. It used to be called a Peter to Paul scam.
Okay.
And the term Ponzi began to be used. I think it was popularized in like the 40s.
After a guy named Ponzi.
Yeah, named after Ponzi, who actually ran a number of really interesting scams, including a forgery business in Canada, which he was arrested for. Then he moved to Boston. He was lauded and praised as a guy earning lots and lots of money for these investors. And I think it was the Boston Globe that was starting to write articles about him. They actually won a Pulitzer for it when they revealed it. And he eventually was what they did is they raided his accounts.
That's right.
When he wasn't able to move money fast enough from one account to another account. They raided his accounts, drained them all, closed the bank, and then arrested him. He was sentenced, and he eventually moved to Florida, to Jacksonville, where he did another scam in a land splitting deal, where he basically bought a bunch of land, tried to sell it in tiny little shares, and basically sell it. It was the scam was he bought land and then cut it into shares, and then tried to sell each share for more than the entire value of the land itself. So he basically tried to. It's the stupidest idea you've ever heard. So anyhow,
except
I don't understand
that
Jason,
whole
why that's
fractionalizing.
The magic box. Say it again.
I said the whole fractionalizing of property has been done multiple times, and that fractionalizing of property under a management company is what brought us to the Howey test, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
So here we go. Like, why is it that a magic box can't be a blockchain, which has been proven to work by Bitcoin, and the use, the utility on that magic box be a feature list? And the first feature list works, and then they have a set of promised feature lists that you are then expected or asked to continue to invest in. And the people that are in control of the feature list are the ones who are basically taking money from people by going to the exchanges, selling their tokens to people that don't know that they're about to announce some kind of feature or announce that they're about to exit the scam itself and turn it over to the community. That's exactly the same structure as you're proposing.
No, what you're talking about is called theft.
It is certainly theft, but
Yeah.
explain to me why that's any different than what you're explaining. Because I see this. There's a magic box. It's called a blockchain. You put money into. Someone like Vitalik is in control of a feature list, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's other people who know what's on that feature list. And he goes around and says, like, hey, by the way, this blockchain has a lot of utility. You can put money into it. It's going to pump. It's going to grow. You're going to make lots and lots and lots of cash.
So he did that 2 years ago, and and that's when the original Ether token sale happened.
Right. And then they announced,
and he created Ethereum. Right.
They figured out how to do POS. They figured out how to do this. So there are all these future features that they figured out, and they're going to announce as things go on that they've done it. And the best example is Dash, right? So like Dash continually discovers the most complicated answers to the most difficult questions in blockchain, and they continually announce them, and the price of Dash keeps going up. And if you're one of the original holders of that feature list, what you could do is you can sell before announcements, and then you can.
Yeah, that's just fraud.
You can buy before you exit.
That's just fraud.
I agree, it's wrong, but
that's
how
not
is that any
no. I said
think the only
fraud with an F.
The distinguishing feature here, Jason, is that you're saying that they didn't establish an LLC.
No,
so there's no corporate entity.
No, the specific thing that makes a Ponzi, and it has. Look, Ponzi is a subset of scam.
Yes.
Okay, but it's a very specific type of scam. Just like a multi-level marketing scheme is a very specific type of scam, just like affinity fraud is a very specific type of scam.
100%, yes.
A Ponzi scheme is very specific.
I believe that.
Now, let's talk about, and a lot of people thought that Shavers was a Ponzi scheme. And actually, at the very end, in about 10 minutes of the existence of Bitcoin Savings and Trust, Shavers admitted in federal court that it was a Ponzi scheme. And this is how. So, for those of you that don't know Shavers and the Bitcoin Savings and Trust issue, he was promising 1% per day for Bitcoin lending. So he was dealing only in Bitcoin. You would lend him your Bitcoin. He would have it for a couple of days, and for every day that he had it, he would pay you back your Bitcoin plus 1% on top of that per day. And everybody thought the only way that could actually happen is if it was a Ponzi scheme. Meaning that on, let's say, day 1, he brought in 1,000 Bitcoin. Day 2, he brought in another 1,000 Bitcoin. And day 3, he brings in another 1,000. And on day 3, that's when you take day 2 and day 3's Bitcoin and pay back day 1. And so long as you have, it's like rolling checks. That's a Ponzi scheme, is you're constantly rolling checks.
Yes.
So
that's the most base form of Ponzi. That is literally what Charles Ponzi was doing.
Exactly. And so, my explanation, very complex, is what you have happen today in a Ponzi scheme. The idea is that you take day 2 and day 3 to pay the other back, and while you're paying those back, you're skimming off the top to yourself. Right? I've made another drawing. Yourself is down here at the bottom. You got day 1, day 2, day 3, and then you're paying back 1, 2, 3, and then you're skimming. So what I hear you, and that's a Ponzi scheme. Period.
Yes.
Period. You're using new money. You're using
most base form of a Ponzi.
You're using new money to pay off original investors, and there's never anything allegedly sustaining after a certain point in time. Right?
Correct.
Now, what Shavers was doing was he was doing a form of arbitrage, and you interviewed him, right? Do you remember interviewing Trennan?
Completely forgot. I was completely high at the time.
I believe that.
Of course I remember.
Right? I mean, he was moving markets.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the guy had 700,000 Bitcoin at one point in time. Just ridiculous. And if I remember right, he was controlling so much of the market that he could dump Bitcoin to be able to make sure that the people that he lent to upstream could afford to pay him back. So he was manufacturing the price. It was
Right.
pretty sophisticated. Now, at the end, when he lent upstream and Bitcoin didn't come back, he used day 2 money to pay back day 1 money so that everybody could be made whole, and
Sure.
paid everybody back a little bit and then shut it down.
Yeah.
And the SEC said, wait, you should have given day 2's money back to day 2 people, but you didn't, so you ran a Ponzi scheme.
Sure.
Right? Now, here's what I didn't hear in your blockchain example, is how are they taking in new investor money to pay off old investors? What I hear is there's already an economy that exists. There's already an existing security that's been offered. This thing exists. They're pumping it up, saying all this shit's going to happen, and then they dump their own shit, they get out, they pull the plug. That's not paying people back with original money. That's just fraud. That's just fraud.
Well, I would generally agree, Jason, but that's why I think it was the IMF called these natural Ponzi's. They look a little different than like your traditional Ponzi scheme, but they're using like the mechanism of the market to basically pay old investors, because like while there is in fact an economy of people trading back and forth this quote unquote security, there is because the people in charge of the feature list can make announcements willy-nilly. They basically have complete control over when the market goes up or down.
That's not a Ponzi. That's market manipulation. That's fraud. That's fraud.
It's certainly fraud. I agree.
So with that, I mean, we could talk about like an affinity scam. Affinity fraud is more likened to that. So let's say
but Jason, like all of these kinds of fraud, you have like underneath them Ponzi's often. Like for example, in Minnesota, there was an affinity fraudster who, God, what was his name? Peppers. It's very.
I don't know. At this point, you know more than I do.
Well, yeah, Petters. Tom Petters. That was his name. And he had a guy go into churches and befriend everybody and basically get them into money, get their money into this scheme, where he was promising higher returns and saying that he wasn't a scammer anymore, not like his old days. He was in fact going to be returning high returns, etc. And he in fact did. And then eventually it was revealed that it was a Ponzi scheme, but that was also an affinity scam.
That's a combination. If he was taking in new people's money and paying them back,
Ponzi,
right? That's an affinity Ponzi. Now, I actually sued a guy. He was an Edward Jones investor. By the way, the Edward Jones people are just terrible. But he was also a pastor, and this guy was offering like 401k packages from the pulpit. It was so bad.
That is the exit scam of pastors, by the way.
Right? I mean, it was so bad.
Scams. As a pastor, you always become an insurance salesman. Pastor.
Right. 'Cause, I mean, he was literally telling people how to buy their way into heaven. It was so bad. I mean, that's affinity fraud, right? But he wasn't running a Ponzi scheme. He was selling somebody else's shit. Right?
Yeah, I believe that.
So that's just fraud. He was making statements to try to convince people, fraudulent statements that had nothing to do with the value of it, and he was selling them unsuitable stuff. That's just fraud. The underlying investment itself was just fine, and that's what I'm saying here. So listen. I'm probably going to get killed for this, but the Ethereum blockchain is just fine. Okay, it can exist. It gets to exist. Okay.
Well, that's certainly true. It does get to exist.
It gets to exist, and if people want to use it, they can use it. Now, do I think there were fraudulent statements made in selling that thing? Yeah, absolutely. Do I think people were promised a bunch of stuff and then that wasn't delivered? Yeah. Do I think that they gave money and then shit happened with that money that nobody knew was going to happen? Absolutely. All of that is fraud. It's all fraud. But it doesn't mean it's a Ponzi scheme.
I don't disagree that there is a distinguishment between what is a Ponzi scheme and what is fraud generally. But I'm still confused as to like this little drawing you gave me, the magic box, the utility. It sounds an awful lot to me like a blockchain and a feature list. Like I get your point that there is a market economy that is swarming around this, but I don't know that.
Let me
I don't know.
let me
I don't know why you can't have a Ponzi scheme wrapped in there, just like you can have an affinity fraud with Ponzi's.
where I'm looking for the Ponzi to happen is actually in Main Street investments. All right.
What do you mean by that?
Well, you have initial investor money coming in with the
you
garbage
mean with
company.
Charlie Shrem?
Yeah.
Well, that wouldn't be a surprise at all.
Okay. So you have original investor money that's coming into Main Street investments through their ITO, and they're using the Ethereum blockchain to do it. Does that mean that the Ethereum is a Ponzi scheme? No. All right. But we don't know if they're actually going to put it into this Jason Granger's garbage company or not. So
I bet they do.
Well,
I bet there's material. I bet there's material false statements that are made in relation to it. But I think that, like generally, I think that that's probably not going to be the
now here's the thing. How many people in the dojo or in conversation have said that Main Street is just another fucking Ponzi?
Well, I'm sure a lot.
But you just argued that it's not, and I would agree with you.
I don't think it's going to necessarily be a Ponzi, but I do think it is probably some kind of fraud. In fact, I'm sure it's fraud. It's securities fraud of sorts.
But Main Street is set up to move right into a Ponzi scheme, and you understand why, right?
Oh yeah.
Now, Ponzi's are usually perfected through dividends, paying people back with the money that comes in. When you have an entire currency like Ether that's wrapped into an underlying blockchain that people are trading, there's no way to pay people back that dividend because other people are in control of the market value. The only thing that's happening to change that market value is that maybe people at Ethereum or shitcoin ABC are injecting false information into the market. That's not a Ponzi scheme.
That's what a feature list is, Jason.
Well, injecting false information in the market is just fine.
Yeah, because they're making promises that they can't possibly achieve.
That's not a Ponzi. That's market manipulation, which is securities fraud, but it's not a Ponzi. It's not a Ponzi.
Okay, so I don't know where we stand here. You're the lawyer. Like I could sit here and tell you that you're an idiot and you're wrong. I'm not going to do that. I believe very strongly in specialization, so I'll defer to you. Maybe you're right. Perhaps
let me put it this way. I'm not your lawyer. I'm not anybody else's lawyer out there. But
you're my lawyer.
If let's say the SEC brought charges against Ethereum for running a Ponzi scheme, I would have an amazing defense for that. Now,
go on.
If
I would like to hear this.
If the SEC said you've committed securities fraud, I wouldn't take the case. It's a fucking loser from the beginning.
What's your defense for Ponzi?
Show me where new investors got paid with old investor money. Show me that. Show me that.
Old investors got paid with new investor money, right?
Show me that. Show me where old investors got paid with new investor money. That's what I want to see. Yeah. If you've got that,
you want to see like a check written by the foundation.
Damn right. I want to see a dividend. I want to see a transfer. I want to see something. I want to see something that says new investor money came in and it went directly to original investors. You show me that, then I agree it's a Ponzi scheme. Until you do that, it's just fucking fraud, and that's okay. A Ponzi is a very specific thing, and it gets blown out of proportion all the time. Now, if you can show me in the blockchain world where new investor money directly gets taken and paid directly to original investors, you can do that. I'll agree with you. You know more about blockchain stuff than I do.
The argument, Jason, would be that the beauty of a blockchain is that it allows you to do that legally by using the mechanism of the market. Like you don't actually have to write the check. You can let them go and like have the market basically write them that check. And you as an individual, you have indemnified yourself from that accusation. Yeah, that's always been my point with this. Like for example, OneCoin, which I think a lot of people are calling a Ponzi scheme, and I would. I think until this conversation.
Well, wait a minute. Has OneCoin actually released a blockchain yet?
I mean, they say they're on a blockchain.
Are they?
That's what they're claiming. Yeah.
That they have a blockchain.
Like you be the judge of that. Like, what is a blockchain? Like, I would say absolutely not. It's
Are they
completely
running a
centralized.
node? Are they running a single node?
That's essentially the claim, is that it'd be a centralized blockchain.
What? Well, no. No, that's not a blockchain. What's your definition of a
I'm with you.
blockchain?
I'm
This,
with
this
you.
is
Now,
your
now, like,
favorite question, right? What's a blockchain?
absolutely, I'm 100% with you. I agree. But like, my point is that like, if they're a Ponzi, they're claiming that they're a blockchain. They're
not.
The goal of a blockchain, and many times, like for
They're not a
example, Dan
blockchain.
Larimer, what he did is he announced when BitShares was done that he was going to
It's
hand
not
off
a blockchain.
the BitShares blockchain to the community. All right, and then the community is now responsible for that, for all of that investment. What he was very easily able to do then was basically dump his shares of BitShares before he made that announcement with
Great.
new investor money.
No.
Using it 100% is. It's
No.
newer than him. He's the oldest of the investors. He
No.
paid himself up that way.
He's just selling fraudulent securities.
Okay, fine. I'll buy that. It's selling fraudulent securities.
Perfect.
Fine. Like, I don't know that there's a big difference.
There is.
What is it in terms of like prison time?
No. The difference is how long the fraud lasts. So in a Ponzi scheme, the original operators stay in and they continue to manage the market. If he's just exiting out and saying, shit, I'm taking my winnings and I'm gone and I'm going to let this machine keep running, then he's created a market and committed fraud on a market. That's different than a Ponzi scheme.
I see. Okay,
So,
well,
I mean, it's semantics, but all right. People are starting to get pissed. How long have we been going here? I don't even know.
over 30 minutes.
30 minutes. You know, I need to refresh my beverage. I have a small prostate, so, I need to go to the bathroom. But we're going to take a break. We're going to turn up the music a little bit.
All right.
I'm Jason. He's Krista Rose. And I'm not your lawyer, but maybe he is. He's smarter than I am.
No.
With
But
that,
I am your
we're going to take a break. We'll be back.